some games don't age. You go back expecting shitty, clunky mechanics and outdated visuals, and instead you get reminded why they became classics in the first place. Today, we're revisiting the old games that still hold up, the ones that feel just as sharp, immersive, and unforgettable now as they did back a decade or even more ago. Freedom Fighters, 2003. Now, this is one of those games that just hit different back in the day. You're just a regular dude who accidentally becomes the leader of a full-blown resistance against the Soviet invasion of America. Yeah, in this alternate history, the Soviets won the Cold War, and New York is now crawling with Red Army soldiers, attack helicopters, and propaganda blaring from every street corner. You play as Chris Stone, a plumber, yes, an actual plumber, who was just minding his own business until the Soviets rolled in and started rounding people up. One thing leads to another, and before you know it, you're out there leading a squad, blowing up enemy bases, and turning the tide of war one mission at a time. The game throws you right into urban guerrilla warfare, where you start off fighting solo, but gradually build up a whole squad of freedom. And the best part? You can command them in real time with one of the simplest and best squad command systems ever made. Seriously, this game came out in 2003, and most modern squad-based shooters still haven't done it better. Gameplay-wise, it's a mix of third-person shooting, squad tactics, and open-ended mission design instead of just running from point A to point B. You're given a bunch of different objectives: blow up a fuel depot, take out a sniper nest, rescue prisoners, and how you complete them actually affects future missions. Maybe you destroy a Soviet helipad in one mission, then in the next one you won't have to deal with helicopters chasing you down. It makes every mission feel connected, like you're actually waging a strategic war rather than just running through levels. And man, the vibe of this game is just on point. The music? Absolutely legendary, with this Soviet choir-style soundtrack that makes every firefight feel 10 times more intense. The world? Full of propaganda posters, occupied buildings, and civilians either cowering in fear or rising up alongside you. And the Soviets? They're not faceless enemies, they've got officers, propaganda broadcasts, and a real presence in the city, which makes the fight feel personal. It's honestly insane that Freedom Fighters never got a proper sequel. IO Interactive, the same devs behind Hitman, made it, and you can see some of that DNA in the game's open-ended mission design, but instead of getting a sequel, they moved on to Kane and Lynch and Hitman, and Freedom Fighters just kinda faded into history. If you never played this one, fix that. It's one of the best alternate history action games out there, and even today, it still holds up as one of the best squad-based shooters ever made. Splinter Cell Chaos Theory. Splinter Cell Chaos Theory came out in 2005, and for a lot of fans, it's still the best stealth game ever made, no joke. Even with all the fancy games we have now, Chaos Theory just does things better. It's smart, it's tense, and it gives you full control without making it feel overwhelming. You play as Sam Fisher, a top-level spy working for a secret US agency. Your job is to sneak into enemy bases, hack computers, steal data, and quietly take out targets, all without anyone even knowing you were there. And if they do find out, things can go bad or real fast. This game doesn't treat you like an action hero, it treats you like a ghost. Someone who moves in the dark and leaves no trace. The gameplay is all about stealth. You stick to the shadows, move slow, and listen closely. Enemies can hear your footsteps, notice open doors, or spot you if you're not careful. Light and sound matter. You've got a meter that shows how visible you are and another that tells you how loud you're being. That means you're always thinking about where you walk, how fast you move, and what's around you. Sam's toolset is also sick. You get night vision, thermal vision, a sticky camera, you can shoot onto walls, a little hacking device, and more. You can open doors quietly, whistle to distract guards, grab people from behind and interrogate them. There's just so much stuff you can do, but the game teaches it in a clean, simple way. One of the best things is how the game gives you freedom. You can sneak past guards without touching them, or you can knock them out one by one. You can shoot out lights to create darkness, or climb up vents and find hidden paths. It's not about running and gunning, it's about thinking, planning, moving with purpose. Red Faction Guerrilla. Oh man, Red Faction Guerrilla. Now, this is one of those games where you go, wait, this came out in 2009? Because even today, over 15 years later, a lot of games still can't match what this game pulled off with its destruction system. Let's just start with the obvious. The physics-based destruction in this game is still unmatched. Not just blow up a wall destruction, we're talking full buildings, bridges, towers, and bases that collapse in real time, piece by piece, depending on where and how you hit them. You could take a sledgehammer to the bottom of a building and literally watch it crumble, or strap explosives to support beams and bring down a whole enemy outpost. And it's not just for looks, it changes how you play. You could create your own entrances, ambush routes, or escape paths by making holes in the world. Almost no games today give you that level of freedom and creativity in combat. But it's not just a tech demo, the actual gameplay was really fun too. You play as Alec Mason, a dude who joins the resistance on Mars to fight against a brutal military force called the EDF. It's a classic underdog story, and the game throws you into this wide open version of Mars where you complete missions, raid bases, and take down enemy strongholds however you want. The game gives you tools, rocket launchers, remote charges, giant mechs, and just lets you go nuts. And there's something really satisfying about that simple gameplay loop. Drive to an enemy base, cause chaos, bring down a giant tower with a few well-placed charges, get out before reinforcements arrive, repeat. It never gets old because the destruction is dynamic, not scripted. Every building collapse feels different. Every mission plays out a little differently depending on how you go about it. The tone is also kind of refreshing. It's not super dark or overly serious, but it's not a total joke either. It sits somewhere in the middle, kind of like those mid-2000s action movies that were just fun to watch. The game doesn't waste your time with deep political plots or long speeches. It just drops you into the fight and says, here's a hammer, go break stuff. It's kind of wild when you think about it. With all the power in modern consoles and PCs, we still haven't seen another game push destruction the way Red Faction Guerrilla did. Some games fake it with scripted collapses or only destroy a few objects, but nothing gives you that pure freedom to tear down the world like this game did. Okami, 2006. If you've ever wished Zelda had more painting and a lot more wolf action, Okami is exactly what you're looking for. But honestly, even that comparison doesn't do it justice. This game is its own thing, a one-of-a-kind masterpiece that somehow still feels underrated despite how beloved it is. It's got style, it's got charm, and it's got one of the most unique gameplay mechanics of any action-adventure game out there. You play as Amaterasu, a literal sun goddess who takes the form of a white wolf. Your goal? To restore life and beauty to a cursed land that's been swallowed by darkness. Sounds like your typical save the world setup, but what makes Okami so special is how you do it. Instead of just swinging a sword or casting spells, you use the Celestial Brush, a magical tool that lets you draw on the screen to manipulate the world. You can slash enemies by drawing a line, create bombs with a circle, or even summon the sun by painting a little scribble in the sky. And it's not just a gimmick. The brush mechanics are woven into the gameplay, puzzles, and combat in a way that makes everything feel interactive and creative. You're not just pressing buttons, you're painting your way through the game, and it makes even the simplest actions feel magical. And the art style? Okami is pure eye candy. The whole game looks like a living watercolor painting inspired by traditional Japanese ink wash art. Every frame is bursting with color and every movement feels like brush strokes coming to life. Even today it looks gorgeous, and the HD remasters only make it shine even more. Then there's the story, which is packed with Japanese mythology, quirky characters, and some surprisingly emotional moments. Amaterasu might be a silent protagonist, but she's full of personality, and her tiny bug-sized companion, Ishun, make sure there's never a dull moment. The game balances humor, adventure, and mythology in a way that keeps things engaging the whole way through. If there's one downside, it's that the game can be a little long-winded. There's a lot of dialogue and the intro takes a while to get going, but once you're in, it's an adventure that's absolutely worth experiencing. The combat, the puzzles, the exploration, it all comes together in one of the most unique and beautiful action-adventure games ever made. And yet, Okami never got the mainstream success it deserved. It came out late in the PS2's life cycle, got a Wii port that was great but didn't blow up, and by the time it hit HD consoles, it still felt like a hidden gem instead of a blockbuster. But if you haven't played it, do yourself a favor and fix that. It's one of those games that feels timeless. Whether you play it on PS2, PS3, PS4, Switch, or PC, it's still just as incredible today as it was back in 2006. quick thing before we continue the video. I let a random bot picker decide my mobile games. It chose Mech Arena as the main grind, and Legend of Elements and Legend of Mushroom as side games between matches. I wanted to see how fast you can start Mech Arena without cheating, and that's when I found the Aptoid version of the game, which I honestly didn't know had extra stuff. From the Aptoid version, you start with a 5-star Brickhouse mech, Impulse, the Xaviera pilot, Cryo Launcher 8, 500 HC, and 100,000 credits. That's not a small bonus. That's basically skipping weeks of early grind. And there's one more thing. If you install Mech Arena using the Aptoid link in my description and use my code MECH, you can get up to 25% cash back on in-game purchases through Aptoid. So if you already spend on the game, this just gives you money back. I'll leave the Aptoid link and code in the description and pinned comment. Just make sure it's the Aptoid version or you won't get the rewards. Alright, now let's see how broken this account actually is. Psychonauts 2005. Psychonauts is one of those games that's just oozing creativity from start to finish. It's weird, it's hilarious, and it's packed with some of the most unique levels you'll ever see in a platformer. If you never got around to playing it, you seriously missed out on one of the most original games of the 2000s. You play as Rasputin Raz, a kid who runs away from the circus to sneak into a summer camp for psychic spies. Because, of course, that's a thing. He's got mind powers, he's got big dreams, and he's ready to prove he can be a psychonaut. But naturally, things do not go as planned. The camp isn't just a training ground, it's the center of a full-blown mystery, and kids' brains are being stolen. Raz ends up diving into people's minds to uncover the truth, and that's where the game really shines. Every level is not just a different environment, it's a completely different concept. Since you're exploring minds, each stage reflects the personality and trauma of the person it belongs to. One minute you're in a twisted, nightmarish dentist's office, and the next you're on a giant board game battlefield inside the mind of a paranoid war general. And then there's the Milkman Conspiracy, which is still one of the most bizarre and brilliant levels ever made, full of weird, surveillance-obsessed characters that make zero sense, but also perfect sense. The humor is top-notch too. It's a Tim Schafer game, so expect a lot of quirky, offbeat comedy. The characters are all weirdos in the best way possible, from your drill sergeant instructor, Coach Oleander, to Dogan, a kid who casually talks about making people's heads explode. Every interaction is packed with personality, and the writing never takes itself too seriously. If you love games that do something different, Psychonauts is a must-play. It's got heart, it's got humor, and it's got some of the wildest level design in gaming. And hey, if you like it, the sequel finally came out years later, and it's just as good. It's Mafia 2. Now this is one of those games that quietly aged like fine wine. It dropped back in 2010, but honestly, it still holds up better than a lot of modern story-driven games, especially when it comes to tone, storytelling, and atmosphere. Mafia 2 absolutely nails it. So the first thing that stands out is the story. It's not trying to give you a 100-hour open world with side quests every 10 feet. It's way more focused. You play as Vito Scaletta, an Italian-American who returns home from World War II and slowly gets pulled into the world of organized crime. The whole game plays like an old-school mafia movie, something between Goodfellas and The Godfather, and it's not just about action, it's about loyalty, betrayal, family, and chasing a better life in a broken system. Vito isn't a superhero, he's just a regular guy trying to climb the ladder and take care of his family. That grounded, personal approach makes the whole thing hit way harder emotionally. You actually care about Vito and his best friend Joe Barbaro, and the bond between them is one of the best parts of the game.
About time you showed up.
But where Mafia 2 really embarrasses modern games is the atmosphere and detail. The setting. Empire Bay feels like a living, breathing city from the 1940s and 50s. Snow on the ground, jazz music on the radio, old school cars, classic advertisements, people walking around in period clothing. It's all so perfectly done. You step outside and just feel the time period. And that's something you don't see much these days. A lot of modern games set in the past kind of fake it, but Mafia 2 goes all in. It's stylish, moody, and rich with little details that bring everything to life. Let's talk realism too. The game's not afraid to slow things down. You don't have superpowers, the gunfights are gritty and grounded, you can only carry a couple weapons at a time, you reload manually, take cover, and actually feel the danger. The cops in this game don't mess around either. Speeding, they'll pull you over, run a red light, they'll fine you. That stuff adds a layer of immersion you don't see often.
sucker, that's for damn.
Sleeping Dogs. Sleeping Dogs is an open-world action game where you play as Wei Shen, an undercover cop trying to take down the Triads, the most dangerous gangs in Hong Kong. But here's the problem. Wei isn't just pretending to be part of the gang, he's actually starting to become one of them. And that makes everything way more intense. The game throws you right in from the start. One moment you're running from the cops through crowded streets, the next you're deep inside the Triad world, earning their trust by doing dirty jobs. It's like a crime movie where you're constantly stuck between being a good guy and a bad guy, and the more you play, the more you start wondering, who is Wei Shen really? Now the combat in this game is awesome. Instead of just shooting like in most open world games, hand-to-hand combat is the main focus. It feels brutal. You punch, kick, counter, and use the environment to destroy enemies in crazy ways. Smashing a guy's head into an air conditioner, grabbing someone and throwing them into a fish tank, yeah, it's that kind of game. Driving feels fast and fun, with cars that actually feel good to control. You can also jump from one car to another, just like in an action movie. And speaking of action movies, the slow motion gunfights feel like something straight out of a Hong Kong film. The world feels alive, with busy markets, neon lights, and people everywhere. It's not as big as some other open world games, but it's packed with detail. You can go to street vendors, gamble on cockfights, do side missions, or just drive around and take in the view. The story is really strong too. Wei Shen isn't just some random hero. He's dealing with real struggles. He's trying to be a cop, but he's also forming real friendships with the gangsters. Some of them aren't just villains, they feel like family, and that makes things really complicated when you have to take them down. The Saboteur 2009. Now this is one of those games that had no business being as cool as it was, but here we are. The Saboteur is an open world game set in Nazi-occupied France. And instead of playing some typical soldier, you're a drunken Irish race car driver turned resistance fighter. Yeah, you heard that right. You play as Sean Devlin, a guy who really hates Nazis and decides to take them down one explosion at a time. The whole game is built around this really slick black and white art style. When the Nazis have control over an area, everything is dark and lifeless. But as you start blowing up their outposts, assassinating officers, and causing absolute chaos, color starts creeping back into the world. It's a simple effect, but damn, it works. It makes every little victory feel like you're actually making a difference. And let's talk about gameplay. This isn't just a GTA-style open world. It's got parkour, stealth, gunfights, and straight-up sabotage missions where you blow up bridges, trains, and entire Nazi bases. You can go in quiet, sneaking around in disguises, or just go full Sean Devlin, guns blazing, leaving behind a trail of wreckage. The driving is really solid too, which makes sense since Sean's a racer at heart, and you get to tear through the streets of Paris in old school sports cars, dodging Nazi patrols while blasting swing music from the radio.
How did the girls know we'd be here?
There must be a leak somewhere.
The game also doesn't take itself too seriously. Sean's got that classic Irish charm, constantly cracking jokes and drinking whiskey in between missions, and the world is packed with hidden stashes, sabotage targets, and places to cause trouble, so there's always something to do. Sadly, the Saboteur got overshadowed when it launched, and to make things worse, Pandemic Studios, yeah, the same guys behind Mercenaries and Star Wars Battlefront 2, shut down right after releasing it, so it never got the love or sequel it deserved. But if you're into open world games with a unique setting, great atmosphere, and a protagonist who just does not give a damn, this one is absolutely worth playing. You probably missed it, but now is your chance to fix that. Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time. This game, man, it's not just good, it's legendary. It's one of those games that defined a generation, and for good reason. It's a classic action-adventure title that still holds up incredibly well today. You play as the prince, who's not your typical damsel in distress prince. This guy is a total acrobat, a skilled warrior, and he's got this magical dagger that lets him control time. The story is inspired by the Arabian Nights, which gives it this fantastic mythical feel. It's a tale of betrayal, magic, and a touch of romance all wrapped up in a thrilling adventure. The gameplay is where Sands of Time really shines. It's a perfect blend of parkour, combat, and puzzle solving. The parkour is so fluid and responsive, running along walls, leaping across huge gaps, climbing up ledges. It just feels so natural and satisfying. It's like you're actually controlling a nimble, agile warrior. The combat is engaging too. It's not overly complex, but it's well designed. You got your sword, and you can string together combos, block attacks, and use the environment to your advantage. Taking down enemies feels good, and there's a satisfying weight to the combat. But the real game changer, the thing that made Sands of Time so innovative, is the time rewinding mechanic. It's brilliant. You can rewind time a few seconds, which is a lifesaver when you inevitably mess up a jump, fall off a ledge, or get ambushed by enemies. It's not just a gimmick, it's a core part of the gameplay, and it adds a strategic layer to every encounter. It's like having a do-overs button, but it's more than that. It allows you to experiment, take risks, and learn from your mistakes without having to start from scratch. And the visuals, even though it's an older game, it still looks great. The art style is distinctive and vibrant, and the environments are beautifully designed. It's a visually appealing game, and it helps to create this immersive and magical atmosphere. Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time is more than just a game. It's an experience. It's a timeless classic that combines thrilling gameplay, a captivating story, and a truly unique mechanic. If you're a fan of action-adventure games, or even if you just appreciate a well-crafted game with a touch of magic, you owe it to yourself to play Sands of Time. It's a game that deserves its place in gaming history. Metro Last Light. Metro Last Light is one of those games that pulls you into its world so completely you forget the real one exists. Released in 2013, it's the sequel to Metro 2033, and while the first game laid the groundwork, Last Light took everything to a whole new level. Even now, over a decade later, it's a stunning example of immersive storytelling and atmosphere done right. You step back into the boots of Artyom, navigating the claustrophobic tunnels of the Moscow metro and the harsh, radioactive surface above. The story picks up where 2033 left off, diving deeper into the political struggles between factions, the mystery of the Dark Ones, and Artyom's personal journey. It's intense, emotional, and filled with moments that'll stay with you long after you're done playing. What makes Last Light stand out is its atmosphere. The metro feels alive in the most haunting way. Every station, every dark tunnel, every ruined surface area is dripping with detail. The flickering lights, eerie sounds, and constant sense of danger create an immersive experience that few games can match. Whether you're sneaking past mutants or exploring abandoned ruins, there's always this nagging feeling that something's watching you. The gameplay is a fantastic mix of stealth, survival, and action. Resources are scarce, and every bullet counts literally. Since ammo is also currency, you're always making tough choices. Do you conserve your ammo, or do you go all in to survive an ambush? The stealth mechanics are solid, and the game rewards you for taking the quieter, more strategic approach, but when things go loud, the combat is punchy and satisfying. Last Light also shines in its storytelling. It's not just in the main plot, it's in the little moments. NPCs having conversations, bits of lore scattered around, or a quiet interaction that reveals more about the world. It's the kind of game where you stop and listen because everything feels meaningful. Ryse, Son of Rome. Now here's a super underrated one when it comes to cinematic vibes. Ryse, Son of Rome. This game came out as a launch title for the Xbox One, and honestly, it still looks insanely good even today, like visually. It holds up better than most games that came years later. It's pure cinema in Roman armor. Big battles, slow-mo kills, dramatic music, and a story that feels like watching a historical war movie. You play as Marius, a Roman soldier who goes from being a regular soldier to basically becoming this unstoppable warrior with a personal mission for revenge. The story is serious and kind of tragic, and it's told through big cutscenes with strong performances, great voice acting, and full motion captured characters that feel real. Even though the story is simple, the way it's presented makes it feel epic. What really makes Ryse feel cinematic though is how the gameplay and cutscenes blend together so smoothly. The transitions are clean, the camera always moves in this dramatic, movie-like way, and even during fights, the way Marius finishes off enemies looks like something straight out of a film. You'll slice a guy, grab his arm, spin around, and finish him off in slow motion with the sun shining through the battlefield. It's wild how good it looks in motion. The combat is simple but super flashy. It's mostly sword and shield action with a focus on timing, blocking, dodging, and doing finishing moves that look like fight choreography. The more cleanly you fight, the more brutal and cinematic the finishers get. Some people say it's repetitive, but honestly, if you're into the whole visual cinematic feel, it never really gets old. You're not here for deep systems, you're here to feel like a Roman badass in the middle of a war. The set pieces are also pretty big. You're storming beaches, holding off armies on city walls, marching through burning towns, and it's all backed by strong music and some of the best graphics of its time. The lighting, the armor detail, the slow-mo during action, everything is built to feel larger than life. Crysis, 2007. You're dropped onto this stunning tropical island, but it's not a vacation. You're a soldier in a nanosuit, which is basically a super-powered suit of armor. Think of it like a high-tech second skin that lets you do things regular soldiers can only dream of. The island itself is a huge open playground. You're not stuck in small rooms or hallways. You can explore beaches, jungles, and even mountains. It's like a big sandbox, but instead of building sandcastles, you're fighting aliens and human soldiers. Your nanosuit is the real star. It's got 4 main modes: armor, strength, speed, and cloak. Armor mode makes you nearly invincible, like a walking tank. Strength mode lets you punch through walls and throw heavy objects like they're toys. Speed mode makes you run like a superhero, and cloak mode turns you invisible, perfect for sneaking around. You'll be facing a mix of enemies. There are human soldiers who are trying to stop you, and then there are the Thief, the alien invaders. They're tough and they have their own advanced technology. You'll need to use all your nanosuit abilities and weapons to survive. The game isn't just about shooting. You can choose how you want to approach each situation. Want to sneak past everyone and complete your mission without being seen? Use cloak mode. Want to go in guns blazing and destroy everything in your path? Use strength and armor modes. It's all up to you. The graphics are amazing even now, the island looks beautiful, and the explosions and effects are really impressive, but I mean, of course it is. It's can you run Crysis after all? Crysis is a game that gives you a lot of freedom. You can use your nanosuit powers and weapons to tackle challenges in your own way. It's like being a superhero on a tropical island, and you get to decide how to save the day. Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic. This one's old, like original Xbox was still poppin'. Old, but do not let the age fool you. KOTOR is like vintage Star Wars mixed with deep role-playing goodness, and honestly, it's still legendary. You start out as just some nobody on a ship that's under attack. No memory, no clue what's going on. Classic, mysterious RPG protagonist vibes. But then, bam, you get thrown into this galactic mess where the Republic is fighting a Sith army led by this super scary dude named Darth Malak, and his old master, Darth Revan, is supposedly dead. Or is he? And while that sounds like your typical Star Wars stuff at first, Jedi vs Sith, good vs evil, what this game does with that setup is where the real magic happens. Because you're not just watching a story unfold, you are the story. Every decision, every moral choice, every little side quest, it shapes the person you become, Jedi or Sith, savior or destroyer, hope or fear, all that. And of course, we have to talk about the twist. If you've played it, you already know. If you haven't, I'm not gonna spoil it, but let's just say there's a moment in this game where everything you thought you knew gets flipped upside down so hard, you just sit there in silence for like 5 minutes. Even if you kind of saw it coming, the way it's revealed and how it changes everything, damn man, that twist is iconic. Still one of the best in gaming history.
Malak is a tyrant who should be stopped. If he conquers the galaxy, we're in for a couple of...
But it's not just the plot that makes KOTOR shine, it's how much freedom you have. Want to be a peaceful Jedi? Cool. Want to force choke everyone and go full Darth mode? Totally an option. Want to flirt with Bastilla and then betray her? Yep. Or maybe save her, redeem her, fall in love with her? It's all possible. The game doesn't force you down a path, it lets you become whoever you want to be in that galaxy far, far away. Also, just side note, this game made being a Jedi feel cool. Not just lightsaber swinging cool, though yes, that too, but like the responsibility, the philosophy, the balance. It actually made you think about your choices. You couldn't just spam the nice guy button and win. Sometimes doing the right thing led to disaster. Sometimes the dark side tempted you in ways that made total sense. That moral tug of war, that's the soul of KOTOR. Dead Space. Dead Space. This is the survival horror game that redefined the genre when it launched in 2008, and even after all these years, it's still an absolute masterclass in tension, atmosphere, and pure, unrelenting terror. If you've ever wanted to know what it feels like to be trapped in a nightmare, this game nails it. You play as Isaac Clarke, an engineer sent to investigate a distress signal from the USG Ishimura, a massive mining ship. What you find, let's just say it's not a friendly crew. The Ishimura is overrun with necromorphs, horrific reanimated corpses that don't just want want to kill you, they want to rip you apart. The ship itself feels like a living entity with creaking metal, flickering lights, and unsettling silence that's constantly interrupted by something awful. What makes Dead Space legendary is its unique approach to combat. Shooting enemies in the head won't cut it, you've got to dismember them to take them down. It's strategic, brutal, and keeps you constantly on edge. And the weapons are ingenious. Isaac's tools, like the plasma cutter and line gun, aren't traditional firearms, they're mining equipment repurposed to survive a nightmare. It adds to the immersion and makes every shot feel desperate. The atmosphere is where Dead Space truly shines. Every corner of the Ishimura is dripping with tension. The sound design deserves an award all on its own. Whispers in the distance, the screech of metal, and the unsettling moans of the necromorphs make you question every step you take. Pair that with the minimal HUD, where everything you need, health, ammo, objectives, is displayed directly on Isaac's suit or weapons, and it's one of the most immersive gaming experiences ever. The story is deceptively simple but hides a deeper layer of horror. As you uncover what happened on the Ishimura, you're pulled into a narrative that's equal parts sci-fi thriller and psychological terror. And Isaac, he's not just an empty shell. His descent into madness as he uncovers the truth adds emotional weight to the chaos. Batman Arkham Knight. Batman Arkham Knight lets you step into the Dark Knight's boots like never before. Set in an open-world Gotham City, the game throws you into the middle of chaos as Scarecrow and the mysterious Arkham Knight team up to bring Batman down for good. It's a darker, more intense story, and it pushes Batman to his limits both physically and mentally. The gameplay takes everything the Arkham series is known for and cranks it up. The free-flow combat is as smooth as ever, letting you string together brutal combos while countering enemies and using gadgets mid-fight. Predator mode is back too, giving you the freedom to stalk, terrify, and pick off enemies one by one. It's all about making you feel like Batman powerful but always in control. Then there's the Batmobile. Love it or hate it, it's a big part of the game. You can race through Gotham streets, use it to solve puzzles, or transform it into a tank to take on waves of enemy drones. While some of the Batmobile missions can feel a bit overdone, the sheer fun of driving through Gotham at full speed makes up for it. The open world is stunning. Gotham City feels alive with its neon signs, pouring rain, and dark, eerie alleys. There's always something to do, whether it's stopping random crimes, hunting down Riddler trophies, or taking on side missions that feature classic villains like Two-Face Penguin and Poison Ivy. Each side quest feels meaningful, adding layers to the world, rather than just padding out the game. The story is one of the best in the series. It dives deep into Bruce Wayne's psyche, exploring his guilt, fear, and the weight of being Batman. The Arkham Knight himself adds a new layer of tension, and the way his identity ties into Bruce's past is handled beautifully. Throw in Scarecrow's mind games, and you've got a narrative that keeps you hooked all the way through. Batman Arkham Knight isn't just a great Batman game, it's one of the best superhero games ever made. It's packed with action, story, and atmosphere, making it a must-play for anyone who's ever wanted to be the Dark Knight. Dragon Age Origins. Dragon Age Origins is one of those RPGs that feels like a warm, epic hug from the past. Released in 2009 by BioWare, this game brought back the glory days of deep story-driven RPGs. Even now, over a decade later, it's the kind of game you can lose yourself in for hours without even realizing it. This is a game where your choices really matter. You're thrust into the world of Ferelden during a time of chaos of light threatens the land, and it's up to you as a newly minted Grey Warden to unite a fractured world to fight it. The character creation and origin stories are genius. Whether you're a Dalish elf, a noble human, or a casteless dwarf, your starting point shapes how the world reacts to you. It gives you a sense of ownership over your character that few games achieve. The story itself, classic fantasy done right. It's got betrayal, political intrigue, romance, and epic battles, but what really elevates it is the cast of characters. Alistair, Morgan, Liliana shale their banter and personal quests make them feel like real companions. You're not just traveling with them, you're building relationships, making tough calls, and yes, occasionally getting yelled at for being a jerk.
You do us a great honor by suffering in silence. I was not suffering, silently or otherwise, until now.
Combat is tactical and satisfying. You can pause the action, plan your moves, and manage your party's abilities. It's perfect for players who like a bit of strategy in their battles. And the game doesn't hold your hand, it's challenging, especially on higher difficulties, but that just makes every victory sweeter. The world building is rich. From the oppressive caste system of the dwarfs to the Chantry's religious influence, everything feels layered and alive. The lore runs deep, but it's presented in a way that never feels overwhelming. Now, so why is Dragon Age Origins still worth playing today? Because it's a masterclass in RPG design. The story, characters, and world are timeless, and the gameplay is just as satisfying as it was back in 2009. Whether you're new to the series or revisiting Ferelden for the 100th time, Origins is a reminder of why BioWare was at the top of its game and why this epic still stands tall. It's not just a game, it's a journey you'll never forget. Fallout New Vegas. Fallout New Vegas. Now this is a game that's aged like fine wine. Released back in 2010 by Obsidian Entertainment, it's still considered one of the best RPGs ever made. Even now, over a decade later, people are still modding it, replaying it, and singing its praises, and for good reason. The setting is chef's kiss. The Mojave wasteland is packed with personality, from the neon glitz of New Vegas to the desolate beauty of the desert. It's not just a backdrop, it feels alive, full of factions vying for control, quirky side characters, and stories hidden in every corner. You've got the New California Republic, Caesar's Legion, Mr. House, and even the option to go full wildcard and carve your own path. The choices are yours, and they actually matter. What sets New Vegas apart is how deep the role-playing goes. Your decisions don't just tweak the story, they can completely change the game's direction. Want to be a charming diplomat who talks their way out of everything? Do it. Prefer to be a stealthy assassin or a chaotic wildcard blowing stuff up? That's cool too. The game adapts to you in a way that few RPGs manage. The dialogue and writing are top-notch, packed with humor, drama, and moral gray areas. You'll constantly find yourself questioning which faction you should support, or if you should even trust any of them. And let's not forget the companions like Boone or Veronica, who bring their own stories and personalities to the journey. Sure, New Vegas had its share of bugs at launch classic Bethesda Obsidian, but with modern patches and mods, it's never been smoother to play. The combat might feel a bit dated compared to newer Fallout games, but the depth of the gameplay and story more than makes up for it. If you somehow haven't played Fallout New Vegas yet, do yourself a favor and dive in. Whether it's your first run or your 10th, the Mojave Wasteland always has something new to discover. It's a game that proves great storytelling and freedom of choice never go out of style. Alpha Protocol 2010. Man, Alpha Protocol is one of those games that should have been a huge hit, but instead it just kinda got buried under the radar. And that's a damn shame, because this is easily one of the most underrated RPGs ever made. Think Mass Effect, but instead of space and aliens, it's all about spies, conspiracies, and backstabbing your way through a thriller. You play as Michael Thornton, a government agent who gets burned by his own agency and is basically left to fend for himself. What follows is a globe-trotting adventure where you uncover shady government secrets, infiltrate criminal organizations, and decide whether to play nice or just go full on shoot first, ask questions never. It's all choice driven, and the game actually remembers how you treat people way more than most games do. Help a guy out early on, he might hook you up later. Screw someone over, they will come for you even when you least expect it. Now let's be real, the combat is janky as hell, the shooting feels weird, the stealth is hit or miss, and sometimes enemies just stand there looking confused as hell. But where Alpha Protocol truly shines, yeah, I said it, is in its dialogue system. It's all fast paced, no pausing, and you have to make snap decisions in conversations. And unlike a lot of games, there's no good or evil route. It's all about how you want to play your spy. You can be smooth like James Bond, aggressive like Jack Bauer, or just a complete wild card. The game doesn't hold your hand, and that makes every interaction feel real.
Oh, it did. And I thank you.
And let's talk about the branching story. You can completely change how this game plays out. Different missions unlock based on your choices, different allies or enemies show up, and you'll even get entirely different endings depending on who you pissed off or worked with. It's the kind of thing that makes replaying it actually interesting, because no two playthroughs feel the same. The problem was that Sega rushed it out and it's got bugs, janky AI, and some mechanics that needed more time in the oven. But if you can look past that, Alpha Protocol is one of the best spy RPGs ever made, and considering we barely get any games like this anymore, it's absolutely worth tracking down. If you never played it, now's your chance to see what you missed. Red Dead Redemption. straight up one of the most badass and emotional gangsterish games ever made. Yeah, it's cowboys and horses instead of sports cars and city gangs, but trust me, this game's got more gang drama and heart than half the GTA clones out there. You play as John Marston, ex-outlaw, trying to walk the straight path, but life's like, nah bro, we're not done with you yet. The government's basically blackmailing him. Go track down and kill your old gang buddies or your family's gonna pay the price. So now you're riding across the Wild West, hunting down the people you used to ride with, and it's not just some shoot-up revenge story, it's way deeper than that. Now, the gameplay, dude, is super satisfying. You're riding through deserts, snowy mountains, dusty little towns, all wide open and full of things to do. You can rob trains, have duels in the street, wrangle horses, help strangers, or just ride off into the sunset like a damn legend. The gunplay's tight too, with that classic Deadeye slow-mo where you paint targets and take out a whole group of enemies in a blink. Feels like a cowboy movie every time. But what makes Red Dead Redemption hit different is the vibe. It's got this quiet sadness to it. Like, yeah, there's action and shootouts, but under all that, it's about a man trying to make up for his past. You start feeling for John Marston. He's just trying to be a good dude in a world that's moving on from people like him. Though the world is also crazy detailed. Animals are hunting each other, random events happen on the road, people remember what you've done. It feels alive in a way that's still impressive years later. And now, yeah, almost every one of you might have played Red Dead 2, but give the original one a shot as well, and maybe you will love John as much as we all love Arthur.
Oh, damn, John. We gotta stop making like this.
Metal Gear Solid. The original one on PS1 from 1998. This game wasn't just ahead of its time, it was from the future, bro. Like, people were still out here jumping on mushrooms and spinning around collecting coins. And then this game shows up with full voice acting, cinematic cutscenes, and a story that felt like a full-on movie, like, thriller. You play as Solid Snake, this quiet, no-nonsense soldier who's sent on a mission to stop a group of terrorists threatening to launch a nuclear weapon. Sounds simple, but man, the story goes deep. You're sneaking through this cold Alaskan base called Shadow Moses, and every new section adds another twist, another reveal, another crazy boss, and by the end, your brain is basically fried from how much went down. What made this game so wild back then was how serious and cinematic it felt. The cutscenes were long, yeah, but they were actually interesting. The characters had depth. The bad guys weren't just evil, they had stories, pain, goals. No other game was doing stuff like that in the 90s. And the gameplay? It was all about stealth. Not just blasting your way through, you had to sneak past guards, hide behind walls, crawl through vents, knock on stuff to distract enemies. It was smart, man. It made you think. You couldn't just run in with a gun, you had to play it cool, use your brain, and move like a real spot. Even little things were ahead of the curve. The game used sound in smart ways, like guards could hear your footsteps on certain floors. You'd leave footprints in the snow and they'd follow them. It was stuff that barely even exists in modern games sometimes, and this was on the PS1. Yeah, the graphics are dated now, of course, but somehow it still feels stylish. The camera angles, the sound design, the music, it's all so well done that you stop noticing the pixels. You're just in it. And let's not forget, this game helped put stealth games on the map. Without Metal Gear Solid, we probably wouldn't have stuff like Splinter Cell or even the stealth systems in a bunch of modern action games. It changed the game, literally. Max Payne 3. Max Payne 3 is a gritty, action-packed third-person shooter. It's a bit of a departure from the earlier Max Payne games in some ways, but it still retains that signature noir feel and bullet-time action. You play Max Payne, a former NYPD detective who's now working as a private security contractor in Sao Paulo, Brazil. He's a broken man haunted by his past, and he's struggling to stay afloat. things quickly go south, as they always do for Max, and he finds himself caught up in a dangerous conspiracy. The gameplay is all about intense gunfights. Max can still slow down time with his bullet time ability, which allows for some seriously stylish and over-the-top action sequences. It's incredibly satisfying to dive through the air, slow down time, and take out a room full of enemies. The gunplay itself is really well done. The weapons feel weighty and impactful, and the environments are destructible, which adds to the intensity of the firefights. There's a good variety of weapons to choose from, and you can dual wield them for extra firepower. Max Payne 3 also features a cover system, which allows you to take cover behind objects to avoid enemy fire. However, the game encourages you to be aggressive and use bullet time to push forward and take the fight to the enemy. The story is a big part of the game. It's a dark and gritty tale and explores Max's character in depth. He's not a typical action hero. He's flawed, vulnerable, and often makes questionable choices. The story is well written and engaging, and it will keep you hooked until the very end. Alien Isolation. Alien Isolation is a game that truly nails the sense of dread and tension. From the very beginning, it makes you feel like you're being hunted. You're trying to figure out what happened to your mom and survive the xenomorph that's constantly stalking you. What's crazy is how intelligent the alien AI is. It doesn't just follow patterns. You never feel safe because the thing learns from your behavior. You hide in a locker once, it'll start checking lockers more often. Use your flamethrower too much, it'll become more resistant. I was always on edge, crouching through the station, barely breathing while I hid under desks or behind crates, just hoping the thing wouldn't hear me. Every little noise in the environment, like a door creaking or the sound of your motion tracker beeping, makes your heart race. The developers nailed that retro-futuristic aesthetic from the original 1979 movie, and it really feels like you're in this broken down space station where everything is malfunctioning. The sound design, the dim lighting, the way the station feels so claustrophobic, it all comes together perfectly. Even when the alien isn't around, you're still nervous because of the hostile androids and human survivors who will kill you on sight. One of the coolest things is how the game forces you to manage your resources. You can't just blast your way out of situations. You're constantly scavenging for materials to craft items like MPs, noisemakers, or medkits, and you have to decide when to use them, because if you throw a noisemaker to distract the alien, you might also attract some humans who could mess up your plans.
What did it tell you?
We don't know.
Uncharted 2 Among Thieves. Now this is where the series leveled up hard. It dropped in 2009, and for a lot of people, this is the game that really made them fall in love with Uncharted. It took everything the first game did and just cranked it to 11. Tighter gameplay, way crazier set pieces, better pacing, funnier dialogue, and one of the best openings in any game. You start off with Nate literally bleeding out, hanging off a derailed train on the side of a snowy cliff. No warm-up, no slow intro, just boom, right into the chaos. And from that moment on, it barely lets up. Every time you think you've seen the coolest part of the game, it throws something even more wild at you. A crumbling building shootout? Got it. A truck convoy fight on a moving train? Yep, that huge temple puzzle in the Himalayas? It's in there. Every level just hits. But what made Uncharted 2 so special wasn't just the action. It was how smoothly it mixed everything together. Story, combat, platforming, humor. You go from a quiet moment where Nate's just chatting with Elena to a high-speed chase through a war-torn city, and it all flowed like a movie. But with you in control the whole time. The characters were better this time too. Chloe got introduced, wild, smart, kinda shady, a perfect match for Nate's chaotic energy. Elena came back and you could feel the tension between them, and Sully is still Sully, always a legend. The writing is funny, natural, and doesn't try too hard, it just works. Combat got cleaned up, stealth was added in a simple but fun way, and the climbing felt way more fluid. It was the first time it really felt like Nate could go anywhere, hang off anything, shoot while moving, and still look cool doing it. It just felt better to play in every way. And the locations, man, they nailed the vibes. You go from tropical jungles to snowy mountains to ancient cities hidden in ice. Each place feels like its own adventure. The game never overstays its welcome in one spot. It keeps moving, always pushing forward, always throwing new stuff at you. And the cinematics and presentation were also miles ahead of most stuff at the time. It looked like a next-gen game back in the PS3 days, and Naughty Dog's animation work, especially the character faces, made everything feel more believable. When characters talk or react, you actually see the emotion. It helped to make the story feel real, not just like background noise between shootouts. So yeah, Uncharted 2 isn't just one of the best Uncharted games. It's one of the best PlayStation games of all time, hands down. It was fun, funny, full of heart, and didn't waste your time with fluff. Just pure, polished adventure from start to finish. Still worth playing today, no question. Tomb Raider 2013. Tomb Raider 2013 didn't just reboot a franchise, it reintroduced a legend, stripped of her icon status, and reimagined as a real, flawed, and deeply human character. This isn't the Lara Croft of the 90s confidently flipping through ancient tombs with her twin pistols. This Lara starts scared, vulnerable, and unsure of herself. And watching her evolve into a survivor, it's nothing short of transformative. The story kicks off with a shipwreck, a literal plunge into chaos. Lara and her crew are stranded on a remote island, and things go downhill fast. The island itself is more than a setting, it's an antagonist. From treacherous cliffs to shadowy caves, everything is out to kill you, and the game captures that danger perfectly. The semi-open world design invites exploration without overwhelming you, rewarding curiosity with secrets, upgrades, and a deeper understanding of the island's eerie past. Combat feels raw and desperate, just like Lara's situation. You start with little more than a bow, and let me tell you, that Bowie becomes your best friend. Every arrow you fire feels deliberate, every takedown satisfying. And as you progress, Lara gains confidence and skill, mirrored in her arsenal growing from makeshift tools to powerful weapons. The combat isn't about overpowering enemies, it's about outsmarting them, using the environment, and adapting to survive. The game's cinematic flair never overshadows its soul. Every set piece, from collapsing ruins to harrowing tapes, feels earned because of how grounded Lara's journey is. You're not just along for the ride, you're shaping her into the legend she's destined to be. Why does Tomb Raider 2013 still resonate today? Because it took an icon and made her real. It's not about the nostalgia of the old Lara, it's about watching a young woman find her strength, clawing her way through a brutal world and emerging on the other side. This isn't just a reboot, it's a rebirth. Whether you're playing for the first time or returning to see where it all began, this is a journey worth taking. Spec Ops: The Line 2012. Some games are fun, some are cinematic, and some just hit you different. Spec Ops: The Line is that last kind of game. It starts off looking like just another military shooter, dusty deserts, a squad of soldiers, orders to follow, but by the time you're done, it's something way more than that. It's one of the few shooters that actually makes you stop and think about what you're doing, and it doesn't hold your hand or give you a nice, clean ending. You play as Captain Martin Walker, leading a small team into a ruined Dubai to locate a missing colonel named John Conrad. At first, it's standard military game stuff, enemy soldiers, shootouts, and radio chatter, but slowly, things start getting off. The city isn't just abandoned, it's a war zone where nothing makes sense. Orders from command don't add up, the people you're fighting aren't who you thought they were, and before you know it, you're knee-deep in moral choices that don't have a right answer. And man, the moments in this game. There's one scene, if you've played it, you know the one, where everything just shifts. Up until then, you think you're in control, doing what needs to be done, but after that, you start questioning every single thing Walker does. The game forces you into awful situations and makes you sit with the consequences. No heroic speeches, no pat on the back, just the weight of what you did. And it never stops. The deeper you go, the more Walker unravels, and by the end you're not even sure who the bad guy is anymore.
I'm gonna kill every last one of your men.
The gameplay itself? Solid cover-based shooting, but that's not really the point. The way the game uses combat is what makes it brilliant. It starts out feeling like your typical third-person shooter, but as things spiral out of control, even the gunfights start feeling different. Enemies scream in fear, your squad mates start losing it, and even the way Walker talks changes. By the end, he's not shouting orders, he's just screaming. Visually, it nails the whole beauty turned to horror vibe. Dubai looks gorgeous in that unsettling way. Skyscrapers buried in sand, neon signs flickering in abandoned malls, bodies half buried in dunes. Spec Ops, the line is not here to make you feel good, it's not here to glorify war, it's here to mess you up, to make you question everything, to make you feel the same breakdown Walker is going through. It's rare to find a game that tells a story like this, especially in a genre that usually leans on power fantasies. If you somehow missed it, you need to play it. Just be ready, because once you finish it, it'll stick with you forever. Shadow of the Colossus. Now this one's just on another level. It's not loud, it's not packed with cutscenes or big dialogue moments, but somehow it hits harder than most games even today. It came out back on the PS2 in 2005, and it's still one of the most unique and emotional games ever made. You play as this quiet dude named Wander, and he shows up at this huge empty land, carrying a girl who's, well, dead or dying. It's not super clear. All you know is he wants to bring her back. And to do that, he makes a deal with this mysterious voice in the sky. The deal? Kill 16 giant creatures called Colossi. That's it. No small enemies, no towns, no side quests, just you, your horse aggro, and 16 massive beasts standing between you and your goal. And that's what makes this game so different. Every fight is like a boss battle, but also like a puzzle. These colossi are huge, like moving mountains. And each one is built differently. Some fly, some swim, some run fast, some climb walls. You have to figure out how to reach the weak spots, climb up their massive bodies, and stab them while they shake you off. It's not easy, and it's not always fast, but that's the point. Every fight feels epic, and when one of them finally falls, it's not even a victory, it's kind of sad. That's the thing about this game. It's got this quiet, heavy vibe, no music while you travel. Just wind, birds, and the sound of your horse's hooves. The whole world feels empty, but in a beautiful way. You start to feel alone, and the more colossi you take down, the more you start to wonder, am I the good guy here? The story doesn't tell you everything. It lets you think, it lets you feel weird about what you're doing. It plays with guilt, sacrifice, and the idea of doing something bad for someone you love. It's simple, but powerful. Even on PS2, this game looked amazing. The size of the world, the lighting, the way the colossi move, it was all way ahead of its time. And when they remade it for PS4, it looked even better, but the soul of the game stayed the same.